welcome back to Popping the Popcorn. I'm your host, Katie, and today I'm here with my good friend, Jay. How you doing, Jay?
I'm fantastic, Katie. It's so good to see you. It feels like I haven't seen you in forever.
I know it's been a while. I don't
I
even
know.
remember the last episode you were on with me.
God, it was like right before your move, so it's been a minute.
It's been like 2 or 3 months, maybe?
Oh, it's before I went to Disney World, so it's I think about longer than that.
I don't even know.
Yeah,
But today we're going to talk about some Star Wars because we both love Star Wars. And Jay reached out to me and said he wanted to talk Star Wars. So I said, okay, let's talk some Star Wars. And Jay also is like, when I used to have the podcast, Jay used to be on the podcast a lot with me. So he's my unofficial like co-host. He's always in like the background. I just put him in the
I,
background.
you just put the skipper signal in the sky, and I'll be there.
Yes, exactly. And if you want to tell everybody a little bit about your podcast that you do with a couple of other friends of mine, because I'm friends with everybody over there.
Yeah. Well, I'm Skipper Jay on the Grand Circle Tour podcast, and there we discuss um, all Disney parks, but mostly the American ones. That's our slogan. But it's me and six of my friends, and we just get together and have a good time and talk Disney. And I'm also on a second podcast. Can I say that one too?
Yeah.
I'm also on Now That's Disney Live. We do Saturday night shows, and then that becomes a podcast the next week.
Mm-hmm.
So you can hear me twice a week if you want. Not that
Yes.
anybody really wants to, but the option is there.
Right. Well, hey, I listen to you every week, or maybe twice a week. Who knows? Sometimes I even listen to you on the live show if you're on the live show on Grand Circle Tour. So I get to listen to you 3 days a week sometimes.
That's right, because I also do Grand Circle Tour Live every other week. Oh, man.
So some weeks I get to listen to you twice, your lovely voice twice.
Well, I wouldn't call it lovely, but, thank you.
You're welcome. Well, I have to compliment you because I haven't seen you in a while.
I know, and you look great, by the way.
Thank you. I just came from work, so that's why I'm
This
like
this
dressed
this
up.
this move up north really suited you.
Thank you. I think so too. I'm enjoying it and I'm happy, so that's all that matters.
I'm just bummed because now that I'm moving to Orlando, you've moved out of Orlando.
I'm sorry, but we'll get together and
How
we'll
how,
post
how
pictures.
dare you not? How dare you live your life not around my schedule? What the heck?
I don't know. That's just what happens, I guess. Oh, there's sirens. Uh-oh. I
Oh,
li- I
it
literally
happens to me all the
live
time.
I literally live like 2 minutes from the hospital, not even. So sometimes I hear sirens and stuff, but that's all right.
Yeah, we've got the fire department down the street, so it's kind of an all day long thing. I can't wait to get back to the proper suburbs.
Right? Yeah, I live in the town, but I actually live in a small town when I moved to New York, so it's a really, really small town.
And it's funny, whenever you say New York, you just think Manhattan automatically. You forget there's a whole state attached to it.
A lot of people don't realize, like, I'm in the northern country of New York. So I live in the valley because I live in between two mountains.
Okay.
Because I live in between.
Wait, does that make you a valley girl?
Yeah, maybe.
Like, oh my god.
Yeah. That I actually watched that movie the other day with Nick Cage in it.
Oh, you did?
hmm
I haven't seen it in forever. How's it holding up now?
It's hold up pretty good.
Has it?
I forget how skinny Nick Cage was in that movie.
How young he was in that movie.
That too, but I'm not normally a Nick Cage fan, so. But I do like him in that movie.
You know what? I think his greatest role is Honeymoon in Vegas. That movie has so many great
hmm
quotes that you can use for the rest of your life. Like, hey, I know that now, and like
Right.
winning is not winning.
Right. Yeah, that's a good movie as well. I like that movie.
Great movie. And
So yeah, it's a good movie. There's a lot of good Nick Cage movies. I'm just not a huge fan of his. That's all.
I think I just, because he's so goofy, you just kind of have to go, okay, he's doing his thing.
Right. I think one of my favorite ones is National Treasure, and surprisingly, it's a Disney movie.
Okay, don't shoot me. I have never seen National Treasure.
Okay, I'm coming over there and we're watching National Treasure.
I will
Tell
pop the
Chris.
popcorn.
T- tell Chris I'm gonna come over right now.
Fine with me. I don't use microwave popcorn. I pop it on the stove so it tastes just like the movie theater.
Oh yeah, I like doing it that way too. So, so we're gonna talk about Star Wars. So we're gonna talk about the Star Wars movies from one all the way until the other ones, right?
Yeah, I
Okay.
can talk. I could do this all day long.
So, so are we doing like one? So are we doing the Phantom Menace first or eight or
Oh, I
whatever?
thought we kind of go like trilogy by trilogy, and then what's in between. Like
Okay,
I'll start
we
out
can
with
do that.
the prequels. And you know what's funny, Katie? What's funny is when the prequels came out, I really didn't like them. I was
Mm-hmm.
one of those people that felt like Lucas owed me an apology, ruined my childhood, all that. I didn't watch the prequels for decades.
Right.
Um, but I love the Clone Wars.
Mm-hmm.
All 7 seasons of the Clone Wars is some of my favorite Star
Oh,
Wars ever.
yeah, I love the
And
Clone Wars as well.
it made me like the prequels. And I went back
Mm-hmm.
and watched Phantom Menace for the first time in 20 years and went, wow, this is a good Star Wars movie. And it's actually one of my top 5 favorite Star Wars movies.
Right. Yeah, I actually like Clone Wars because Clone Wars has my favorite Star Wars character of all time. It has Ahsoka, and she's my favorite like Star Wars character. I mean, like I like other Star Wars character too, but she's my number one just because of what she stands for
Yeah.
and women's rights and everything. And she just like doesn't even listen to Anakin half the time.
And she started out as a character you didn't think you were going to like. And like for me,
Mhm.
she's one of my top 2 favorite Star Wars characters of all
Right.
time. And it's funny. I think it's an age thing because I'm old. I was young when the originals came out. I was a little boy. And as a kid, like Han and Vader were my favorite
Mhm.
characters. But as an adult, it's Obi-Wan and Ahsoka.
Mhm. Yeah.
And forging a
Who
new
doesn't?
path after you've lost everything and not
Mhm.
giving up who you are.
Right. Exactly. But I like the fact that she doesn't listen to Anakin, but Anakin never listened to Obi-Wan too much anyway.
No.
So it's kind of funny how the tables turned when he was a Padawan to when he was a Padawan to when she's a Padawan.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny.
Are you like me? Do you think like the Clone Wars was actually Ahsoka's story?
Yes. I agree. It was more her story than Anakin and Ben Kenobi and Darth Vader and everything else. I think it's more of her story. I mean, like yeah, we see General Grievous in this movie as well, in this show as well, movie show. But to compare the movie from the show, I think it's totally different because the movie is so different. I think the Clone Wars, the cartoon show, is like a little bit maybe after the Clone Wars, like after the second movie, I think.
Yeah. In my mind, the way it goes Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, all 7 seasons of the Clone Wars, um, then Revenge of the Sith, then the Bad Batch, and that the Bad Batch is the end of the Clone Wars.
Hmm. Yes, I actually really liked the Bad Batch. That was it. I thought that was kind of cool how the last season of Clone Wars they added the Bad Batch into
Yeah.
there, and it's kind of cool to see like my favorite character out of the Bad Batch. I love Wrecker. He's my favorite character.
Yep. Wrecker's the fun one.
You know.
It every single story, every single character, I like gave everything Bad Batch
Mhm.
season 1 an A+. And when it was done, it was like, wow, this is perfect Star Wars and some of my favorite Star
Mhm.
Wars ever.
Right, yeah. And I think they're also like you know how they do the TV shows and the movies? I think it's
Mhm.
kind of like a filler. Like Mandalorian's kind of like a filler because it happens between um what is it? In between like I think it's Empire or
The,
maybe
the
Return of
Mandalorian,
the Jedi.
yeah, Mandalorian's 6 years after Jedi.
Yeah. So I like how
I
they
promise I'm not gonna get all comic book store guy and be like, well, actually,
it's okay, you could. Um because I'm sure there's casual Star Wars fans and then there's big Star Wars fans. So for the casual viewers that might not know, they do have comic books of Star Wars as well. Um, but the movies are based on just like George Lucas's focus,
Yeah.
and when the first ones came out, the first three, when 6, 7, and 8 came out, people didn't know what that movie was going to be about because they never had technology like that back then.
Okay. Can I trash? Can we just skip straight to the sequel so I can trash talk them for a few minutes?
Sure.
Because I really don't have much good to say about the sequels. As films go, they weren't very good films. They were very disjointed. And it's a shame because I liked all the new characters. I liked
Right.
Ray. I liked Kylo.
Kylo to me is a whiny little baby.
But every single character in the sequel trilogy got under like everyone got sidelined so Ray could be the chosen one.
Mm-hmm.
And after having ridden Rise of the Resistance, which by the way, the greatest ride I've ever been on in my life, it
I have not been on it.
blew my mind. It is everything you can imagine a theme park experience to be. Um, After I got off that ride, though, I realized the sequels, Disney had no real intention to go out and make Star Wars movies. Disney
Right.
wanted to go out and make theme park content, and it really, really shows.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the
I agree
movie
with you on that.
suffered hard for the theme
Mm-hmm.
parks.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, I out of the sequels or the prequels, whatever prequels, I don't know what you want to call them or whatever they call Rise of Skywalker and all those ones. I don't know what they call them.
And I was so excited when it came back. Force Awakens looked amazing. And then I
Mm-hmm.
went and saw it. And it was just a beat by beat retelling of the first one.
Mm-hmm.
And as time's gone on, I enjoy that movie less each time I see it because it's just a retelling of what I grew up with.
Right. The last one, when Rise of Skywalker came out, that movie
Ooh,
made me so mad.
Space horses.
I was so mad when that movie came out, and especially how the ending ended. I'm not going to tell for
Mm-hmm.
people that have not seen the ending, but
Okay.
that I was
Okay.
so mad about. Just like,
Skip ahead. Skip ahead 15 seconds. Rey is the true villain of Star Wars because at the end of that film, she steals the Falcon, she steals the BB-8, she steals Luke's home, and then she commits like identity fraud by using someone else's name. Rey is the villain. Just kidding.
no, she's not. But no, I just did not like that movie. I mean, like I like Kylo Ren, but I like him better as Ben because as Ben, he's more self-respecting than when he's Kylo. Because when he's Kylo, he's a whiny baby.
Yeah, and Kylo could have been so much more interesting, but again, everyone got
Mm-hmm.
sidelined for Rey, and I was checked out. It's funny, I was checked out the first 5 minutes into Rise of Skywalker with the CGI Carrie Fisher.
Mm-hmm.
Something about, and maybe it's just because I'm Gen X and I grew up with it, seeing a fake Carrie Fisher on screen throughout the movie, it was different in Rogue One. It was just a cute little cameo. It was great to see her there, and it tied the two films together.
Mm-hmm.
But to see artificial Carrie on screen really turned me off, and
Mm-hmm.
it made me
Right.
something deep down. I was like, "Ooh, I'm not going to enjoy this experience." And as that film went on, God, that was an awful movie.
Out of all the new ones, Rogue One's my favorite. Out of all the
Same,
new ones,
same.
I did not like Solo as much either. Sorry,
Really?
Stan. No, I did not like Solo as much.
Why not? Because I love Solo. It's one of my top five favorite Star Wars
I
films.
I can't put my finger on it. It's
Mhm.
just I don't know if it's the way that they portray his backstories, Han Solo's backstory, or what it is. I just don't know. I just can't put my finger on it why I don't like that
Well,
film.
it takes any mystery out of the character. Any world building you can make in your head is gone after that.
You know.
But
But I did like how he met Chewie and stuff like that, and I like the action sequences
Yeah,
and stuff. And the girl from Game of Thrones was in it, and Mil Clark was in it as well.
I was just about to say, keep your eye on the character she played, Kira, because she's starting to come back in comics. And something
Mhm.
I noticed. Okay, I just had a brain stop. Sorry.
Were you talking about Obi-Wan Kenobi, or were you
It
talking?
was something we reviewed, but it had a bit of the Red Dawn, Crimson
Hmm.
Dawn theme in the
Right.
music. So I
Hmm.
think here is someone we're going to see again, and she's going to be because she's already being set up as a bigger player in the comics. See, that's what a nerd I am.
Right. Yeah. So yeah. So I don't know. I just can't put my foot on it. But the actor that played Solo was pretty good. Who played Han Solo? He was
Yeah,
pretty good.
oh, that was great. Yeah,
And she was good in the movie. And then they had Donald Glover in there, which was interesting, playing a young what's his name?
Lando, and he was so
Lando.
good as
Yes.
Lando.
Yes, a
Like,
young Lando.
I want that Lando TV show.
I would too. He's one of my favorite like non-popular characters. Like, out of the main like characters that we know
Yeah.
and love, he's one of my favorite. I think he's actually really underrated.
Oh yeah, Lando deserves more screen time.
I think
Yeah.
so too. I want a backstory of Lando. Like, how did he meet up with like you see in Solo how he kind of meets up with Solo, and then as the older ones come, you actually see him again. But it's just interesting how it became about. I want a backstory of how he got up to actually getting to where Han Solo is and everything.
Yeah, and like how he became the administrator turned general and all that good stuff. I saw someone post a thing, and do you remember the Young Indiana Jones show?
Yeah.
They need to make a young Lando where like Billy D. Williams
Hmm.
starts out the show by talking about a story, and then it morphs into
Right.
Donald Glover doing the story.
Right. Disney, if you're listening, we want a Mando show.
And we want residuals for that, please. Thank you.
Yes, but yeah, I think it would be kind of cool. Um what I think is cool is also Luke Skywalker is one of my favorite characters as well. Just because of what he stands for and stuff. But I thought it would be also pretty cool if in A Force Awakens they had where Kylo was talking to him. That would have been cool, talking to like Luke, like like would like to see some interaction with Ben and Luke a little bit because
Yeah,
we didn't get that backstory
we
too much,
got robbed for that. Yeah,
you
and
know.
and, and that whole thing really bothered me because as an uncle, if something happened, I would move heaven and earth and go as far as I need to or do whatever I have to
Mhm.
protect my sister's kids.
Right,
For Luke to
exactly.
just go away and cry in a corner, I was so
Mhm.
disappointed in him.
Right. And then also I would have liked to see the other kids to Han and Leia as well because in the books, because I've read some of the Star Wars books, they
Yeah,
have twins and they have other kids and stuff.
yeah,
So I would.
Jason and Janaea. God, I'm a nerd. But they've been put in the Legends corner, so they no longer exist.
Right. But I still would have liked to see a backstory to them, or at least show somewhat of their family dynamic
Yeah,
and how Ben became Kylo Ren. I think that would have been really cool.
yeah, because it made it happen too fast when they
Hmm.
told that in the sequel. It shouldn't that seduction to the dark side take a longer time, not just I had a bad dream, now I'm a bad guy.
Right,
I have bad
exactly.
dreams all the time, but I'm not a bad guy.
Right. And then I think it would have been cool. They should have done it. Put Darth Vader, Anakin as a Force ghost. That would have been cool instead of him talking to the stupid helmet.
Yes, I wanted to see Force go,
Force ghost
and I
Anakin. I
wanted to
think
see
that
Hayden.
would have been cool.
Speaking of Hayden Christensen,
Yeah, he
I
was.
know. I said let's do it in order, and we're just jumping around now. Did you see Obi Wan?
Yes.
Well, what did you think?
I liked Obi-Wan Kenobi. I actually really like the I really liked how they did it, and I actually really liked the backstory of how Leia actually met Obi-Wan Kenobi, because it
Yeah,
goes back to what happened in Episode 6, where New Hope, where she's like, "You're my only hope, Obi-Wan Kenobi," and it's interesting how it kind of connects to each other.
yeah. And it what I love is after Kenobi is how much meat there is to chew on, because you can ask the question, well, in that message, help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, is she, you know, being cool, being a princess, being like, yeah, you helped me when I was a kid, but I'm going to be very regal when I call upon you.
Right. I'm wondering if they're gonna do another Obi-Wan Kenobi show.
You know, I hope so. I
I want to
hope they come
see.
back for one more, but if they don't, I'm okay with that. That one season
Mhm.
was that was something I've always wanted my whole life. That was the Darth
Right.
Vader that scared me as
And
a child.
then what I also thought was really cool was, I forget her character name, but the African American woman in that show.
Moses Ingram.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting how she actually was in the when Anakin turned into Darth Vader. Well, he was still kind of Anakin at that point, but where she kind of also sees all this bad that happened because he's killing off the younglings, and
Yeah,
and she sees it, and then she wants kind of revenge on him.
but I like that in her heart she couldn't do it because that's truly not who she is.
Right.
Okay,
Exactly.
when the very first shot of the very first episode of Obi-Wan, when the camera pulls out, the very
Mhm.
first person we see is a young lady of color, and I went, that's Reva right there. She was at the temple when it happened, and that's why she's all messed up. I was
Mhm.
just so happy to be right.
I never figured that out until I watched the last episode, and I was like, "Oh, that's who that is." I did not figure it out. I'm like thinking to myself, "Why didn't I connect the dots to that? I'm stupid."
I'm just old and have done Star Wars my whole life, so I've learned to connect the dots.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm a master of the Force in Star Wars at this point.
But then she got kind of mad because she got mad at Obi-Wan because it was kind of his fault,
Yeah,
but it wasn't really his fault. It was more the Emperor's fault, you know.
that she didn't see that. She was just a kid, and it was, why didn't you save us? It was your
Mhm.
Padawan. Why didn't you save us?
Right.
So you need to get some backstory on that character um,
Mhm.
going forward. Like what
Right.
happened after the temple? How did she survive? How did she become an inquisitor?
Mhm. Yeah, I would like to see her backstory. That would be cool too, to do a show on her as well.
I'd love to see that filled out in comics or in books.
Or maybe even like an animated show like they did with Attack of the Clones and Rebels.
Ooh, that'd be a sad show. Poor little Holmes girl getting beat up. No, I don't want to be sad watching Star Wars.
um, did you like Rebels? Have you seen the Rebels show?
I loved Rebels. I loved everything about
I
Rebels.
I'm excited if they bring in Tron, or however you say his name, Thrawn.
So the Ahsoka show coming up sounds like it's going to be a live action version of Rebels. They've cast Thrawn. They've cast at time of recording, it sounds like they've cast Thrawn, but they've cast Sabine. They've cast Ezra. So it sounds like we're getting that gang back together, but in live action.
That would be really cool. I'm excited for the Ahsoka show. I can't wait for it.
I'm
Um,
so excited for it.
we'll have to talk about it
We
when
should
it
do
comes
like
out.
an episode by episode.
Yeah, that would be cool. We could do that.
There is one character I have to bring up, and it's the best Star Wars character. No, most people haven't heard of because she comes from a video game, but her name is Iden Versio. In
Yes,
the
I know who
game,
she is.
yeah, in the game Battlefront 2, she starts out. She is the head of Black Ops for the Empire, and
Mhm.
her journey is after the Empire destroys her own planet, her turning into a rebel, and she's just a really great, fascinating character. And
Mhm.
we're seeing more of her.
Yes, I think they should make a show of her or something
I would
too.
love that.
You know, I think like all the beloved Star Wars characters, I would like to see more backstories on them besides
Yeah,
the main characters like Luke, Anakin, Darth Vader.
I
I would love to see a backstory on Darth Maul. He's one of my favorite characters as
yes.
well. I would love to see how he became Darth Maul.
And that's what I really appreciate at this point in my life with Star Wars. Because growing up, it was just Han, Luke, Leia, Vader. We just had this core group of
Mhm.
action figures to play with. Now we've got so many characters spread across so many generations.
Mhm.
It's just a wonderful buffet of characters to
Mhm.
enjoy.
Right. What's your favorite movie out of the OGs? What's your favorite
Empire
one?
Strikes Back.
That's my favorite as well.
I
It's the
was
best one out of 6, 7, and 8.
all of them. I was 4 when Empire came out, and it literally blew my mind. And it's funny. Star Wars, especially Star Wars and Empire, is childhood to me in a way.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
played with those toys. I was obsessed with it all day,
Mhm.
every day. It's all I could think of.
Right.
And that's what I really, really appreciate about Star Wars as a middle aged adult now. It was something I played in as a child, but
Right.
here as an adult, I get to play in it again. I
Mhm.
play the video games. I read the comic books. Your listeners can't see it, but behind me is a wall of Star Wars toys.
Right.
It's
Yes.
I really love that decades later, it's a playground again that I can just dip my toe in and
Mhm.
play whatever I want.
So if you could go to a Star Wars planet, what planet would you want to go to?
I have always wanted to go to Bespin.
That is one of I've that's one of my favorite planets as well.
The Art Deco city in the clouds. I have always loved it.
I think I would want to visit Tatooine just to see the two suns.
Ooh, I need some sunscreen though.
It might be a little hot, but it would be
Yeah.
kind of cool. I mean, like I know it's like a desert and stuff like that, but I think I would want to go to Tatooine just to visit it.
For a
But I wouldn't
day,
want to
but I
live
would
there.
want to stay. Yeah, no, no.
I would go visit it, but I think I would stay in like one of the other lands that is like really cool.
So, what did you think of the book of Boba Fett?
I liked it. I thought it was interesting
See, I enjoyed
to
it
see the
too.
backstory to Boba Fett and how he became who he is and a legendary like bounty hunter.
What I really liked about it was because everyone complained, "Oh, he's not the bad bud he always was." It's like, well, he's older now for one thing. I agree. I understand that and appreciate that, but I
Right.
like seeing a villain who has some of my favorite characters in any of these mediums are people who were villains
Hmm.
who have gone through a life altering experience. And while they may not be heroes,
Hmm.
they have changed their mindset to fight for good. And I
Right.
like, and I think Boba Fett in this whole Mandoverse is kind of like this the safe
Hmm.
space. It's where everybody can come in and out of.
Right. Exactly. What did you think of Mandalorian when you watched it?
Oh, I love Mandalorian. This is something I wish I had as a kid.
Hmm. Did you like when Baby Grogu had to go and we see Luke Skywalker? That was like a weird version of Luke.
No, I am a middle aged man who loves that little green baby way too much. I The second we saw him on screen, my heart melted, and I was like, I
Mhm.
want one.
And everybody kept calling him Baby Yoda because he does look like Yoda, uh, but this is like after Yoda dies,
Oh
right?
yeah, this is a few years after Yoda dies,
Yeah.
which kind of leaves the question: Who is Grogu's parents? Because there is Yoda and Yaddle in
Right.
Phantom Menace, and we haven't seen Yaddle in a long time since Phantom Menace. So
Maybe
part of me
maybe
wonders if it's like when a nun gets pregnant and they ship her off.
uh
If the same thing happened, is Yoda
maybe
and
maybe that's
Yaddle?
what happened. Maybe Yoda and her had Grogu.
It's not a visual I want in my head ever, but I have asked that question. Yes.
Um. Also, one of my favorite characters is Mace Windu. Do you like Mace Windu?
Anything Samuel Jackson. I
I
love
want his
Sam
purple
Jackson and
lightsaber.
everything. Me too. Purple's my favorite color.
Right? Did you actually know? that Mace Windu's style is actually part of the dark side style of fighting.
I did, yeah. He learned to use that, but not get taken over by it.
Hmm. And that's what makes him. That's why I like him. I think he's actually underrated.
Yeah.
Star Wars character, even though that he's part of the council and he's like a Jedi master, like Yoda and stuff. But out of all the Jedi counselors, I actually think Yoda is like the like one that everybody like looks up to.
Oh, we all love Yoda. Yoda has given me some of the greatest words of wisdom in my life. Do
Hmm.
or do not.
I think like he's like you know how like the emperor was like the supreme leader, whatever you want
Mhm.
to call it, like in Phantom Menace you see him like he's like the president of like that whole like city or whatever. I think Yoda's like that of the Jedi,
Yeah,
like the president of the Jedi.
he's definitely like the head of the Jedi,
Hmm.
or at least it
And
seems
then
that way.
right, and then I'm wondering like I want a backstory on the emperor, like how did he become the emperor? I want to like a backstory on him.
I know. He. It's all in episode 3, kids. No, I mean he's actually a really he's one of the neatest and most interesting characters in all of Star Wars. I read the Darth Plagueis book about how he got picked up by Plagueis and became a Padawan and betrayed his
Mhm.
master and such a good character. Why did he just show up for no reason at the very end? I
I
don't
know.
understand.
Right. And then we come to find out when when the Rise of Skywalker comes up who who actually is the actual um what you call it? The actual like granddaughter of who he
Yeah,
is. And that was interesting. I thought like the whole time I thought she might have been Luke's daughter or something.
I kind of figured it was going to be tied to the dark side somehow, but when they ran out of ideas and pulled the Emperor out of their Wookiees the last second for the last
Mhm.
film, didn't see that part coming.
Right. Yeah, I know. You know what one of my favorite scenes is in Star Wars is the scenes with the AT-AT walkers and the snow.
Oh,
That's one of my favorite scenes, and we see Luke. That's one of my favorite scenes.
same. That's one of the things I love about Empire Strikes Back, and not just that I grew up with it. It's great to see a film where your heroes do not win, where they take losses.
Hmm. And then I also really liked when they first meet Han Solo and stuff like that, and they're in the bar and stuff. It's so funny.
Okay, can I say the single most controversial thing that will ever be said on Popping the Popcorn?
What's that?
I've never liked Return of the Jedi.
You never liked Return of the Jedi?
Never liked Return of the Jedi.
Why?
It it and I was 7 when that one came out, and it at 7 years old it just felt lazy because we had gone back to all the same planets. We're back on Tatooine. We're back at the Death Star. We're doing the Death Star thing again. It
Hmm.
just felt kind of it didn't feel fresh like the first two. The first two blew your mind. And what was
Right.
so good about Empire is it was a complete 180 from the first one. They didn't just do the same thing again. They got more cerebral. It was a
Right.
darker story. The characters got to actually evolve. But
Hmm.
then we get to Jedi, and it just kind of wraps things up. And then teddy bears destroy the Empire, and it's over.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. But I also didn't like the incest part a little bit, where Luke thought he could go out with Princess Leia.
Yeah. Probably should have done 1, 2, and 3 first.
Hmm. I think so too. But he didn't know. They didn't know that they were brother and sister until someone told him.
Yeah, until the third script, and that was another thing too at the time, where it's like, okay, Luke being Vader's kid was mind blowing, but then to go, oh, and Leia's your sister, it felt kind of one of those third act reveals that makes no sense.
Yeah.
It wasn't, growing up with it and being into it, that was kind of a rug pull. You didn't see it coming, and it just felt very forced on you. Now
Hmm.
it works, but at the time, it was like, what?
Hmm. And then we find out Dark Vader is their father, at the end of the battle, and it's just an interesting battle between Luke and Anakin actually goes back
Yeah.
to the light side, which is really interesting because Yoda even said you have darkness in you, but you also can channel the light side. So I think in some of the things that Vader was trying to do, he also had Anakin in his conscience, I think.
Oh, Anakin was who he was. He tried to be somebody else, but Anakin was always there.
Hmm.
Never fully squash it.
I don't think he fully like went to the dark side. Of course, he wanted Princess Leia and Luke and stuff. I wonder what would have happened if he did find an Obi-Wan Kenobi, the new show that just came out.
Mhm.
I'm wondering what would have happened if he did find them at that young age versus when they're adults.
There is, and I wish I could remember the name of it. It's an older comic, but it kind of does that. It follows on from it. It's a retelling of the first one, a what if, where they don't destroy the Death Star and the Empire takes Princess Leia hostage, and Vader discovers she has power and makes her a Sith, and it comes
Hmm.
down to Luke versus Leia at the end of the book.
Interesting. That would
I
be
will
kind of an
find
interesting
the name of
story.
it so you can put it in the show notes. But it's an older book, but it was a fun read, a good what if.
Hmm. I wish they would do a kind of a what if for Star Wars like they did with the MCU. That would be kind of cool.
That would be cool. That would actually be very cool.
Because I know you like Marvel too.
Oh yeah, I am the nerdiest nerd in Nerdtown.
you know, but I think that would be cool because there's so many scenarios you could put into Star Wars.
Hmm.
Like, what if General Hux became on the light side and not the dark side? And it's so funny between him and Kylo Ren's dynamic. It's so funny, General Hux and Kylo Ren's dynamic. He's like a whiny baby, and Kylo Ren's like, just do it.
They're both a couple of whiny babies. That's why they should have killed Captain Phasma off.
I
I,
agree.
I do wonder who at Disney theme parks wants to strangle whoever what's his name that made Rian
Hmm.
Johnson for taking Captain Phasma off the table right
Hmm.
before Galaxy's Edge takes place.
Right.
Because you really kind of notice that that character isn't there.
Hmm. What did you think of BB-8 when they introduced BB-8 besides 3CPO and R2D2? What did you think of
Dude,
BB-8?
my jaw dropped. I would the great thing about BB-8, he felt so familiar and so
Hmm.
new at the same time. He felt like his design like he'd always been there.
Hmm. And then it's interesting to see like Chewie's story as well because in Solo you kind of see the island of where the Wookiees came from. That's really
Yeah,
interesting too.
and not to take it back to Jedi, but the original script called for the final battle taking place on the planet of the Wookiees, and instead we got the Care Bears.
Hmm.
And I think that took so much out of the
Right.
just took so much out for me.
Hmm. Yeah, I did too. And then I also like and New Hope where Luke finds Ben and he's like old Ben. Do you go by Ben or do you go by Obi-Wan? And it's just interesting to see their dynamic as well.
What I really want to see, I want to see someone do a cut of all the films that R2D2's in, and remember he says beep boop beep boop beep, actually put in his dialogue what he's thinking,
Right? That would be cool.
but make
I'm
it
sure
really really snarky.
I'm sure 3CPO would be like, R2, stop talking like that. you
There's
know,
a there's a video I'll have to find you. It's not safe for our family friendly audience. It's R2 swearing, but it's along those lines.
right?
It's
I'm
pretty
sure I'm sure
hilarious.
I'm sure 3CPO would have something to say. And it's so funny though. Anytime that you see 3CPO and R2D2, 3CPO goes, "This is my counterpart." And I'm like, "What? What the heck is a counterpart?" When I first saw that. I'm
I
like
thought, I
I'm
thought they
like
were a couple when I was small because when he said that.
I did too. I was like, "Are they gay or are they what?
Ah,
What are they?"
not gonna lie, I always thought 3PO was gay, but that's just me.
I did too. I did too. But that's okay though. Be who you are. That's what I say. That's why I like Star Wars, because basically it's basically telling you be who you are, and no matter what you do, there's always consequences, but just be yourself.
I think that's another thing I really appreciate about Star Wars at my age is how it has grown for everybody, for every race, every nationality, for every
Mhm.
gender, whoever you are. There's Star Wars for you to enjoy.
Exactly.
It's not that rigid, 3 movies for 20 years.
Mhm.
It's so fluid now. There's so much to enjoy. I love seeing who people's favorite characters are
Right.
or what their favorite stories are because it's as diverse as people are. I get the biggest kick out of that. Because
Mhm.
that Star Wars will go on forever.
What do you think of that new Disney Plus Star Wars show that's going to come out? Mandalore, I think it's called, or something like that.
Um, Mandalorian season 3 is gonna come out next
No,
year.
it's called Mandalore, I think.
Oh, is it? Ooh, see, I love anything with the Mandalore, the whole Mandalorian culture and history. I get such a kick out of it.
Let me see. Hold on. This is what happens when you don't know something. You look it up. Let me see. Um, it's on Disney Plus. I think it's called Mandalore. Um,
Oh, are you talking about Andor?
yeah, that show.
Yeah, that is gonna take. We're getting 2 seasons of that, and that's that character from Rogue One. And I guess that story's gonna end right where Rogue One begins. So we'll get this full story that I love how we can make A New Hope like an 18-hour movie now with this.
Hmm. Right. Yeah, I'm excited to see what that new show has to offer. Because there's so many Star Wars content. If you guys go to
Yeah.
Disney Plus, there's so much Star Wars content on there. If you are a Star Wars fan, even if you're just a casual fan and want to know more about Star Wars, just go on to Disney
Yeah,
Plus.
and I want to say to the audience, if you seen a Star Wars animated series, um, why you haven't watched it before? They're not cartoons. They're great stories with great characters,
Hmm.
and I feel like I got so much more out of the animated series than
I
anything
did too.
else.
I did too, because growing up, I think I saw A New Hope when I was 5 or 6, but I wasn't born when that came out. I was
Yeah,
born in '86, so I didn't get to enjoy those 6, 7, and 8 like most older people that are older than me. I didn't
yeah.
get to enjoy it as
I
much.
I will tell you this. That time between 77 and 83, that A New Hope period, that Empire Strikes Back period, that was a great time to grow up.
Hmm.
It was true. Star Wars was a magic all its own, and
Hmm.
it's something I wish everybody could experience. It was just a wonderful, wonderful
Right.
time
I
between
would
those two
I would have
movies.
loved to see the OG Star Wars on the big screen. I got to see Phantom Menace, Attack of
Mm.
the Clones, what's the third one?
Revenge of
What
the
is,
Sith.
yeah, Revenge of the Sith, and then I got to see um Force Awakens, Rise of Skywalker, and then Solo, and
Mhm.
the other one.
I've seen them all on the big screen, but and maybe it's just an age plus nostalgia thing, but that those first 2 movies and the period between them was just a magical time for Star Wars.
Hmm. And
Anything was possible.
right. And back then, I don't think George Lucas didn't think it was going to get as big as it did.
Wonder if we could go back in time and tell him on the first day of filming, you're going to receive billions and billions of dollars from this, and it will go on for every generation.
Right. And
What
then
he
I
would
also
say.
I also thought it was really cool when he brought Star Tours into Disney World and Disneyland, because nobody's ever seen a ride like that before, and I seen some of the behind the scenes to that, and I thought
Hmm.
that was interesting as well.
Okay, everybody listening, drop what you're doing, put this on pause, go to YouTube, and watch the opening day Star Tours footage with the
Watched
dance
it.
show with Han and Luke and Leia and Vader. It's bad. I mean, it is. There is. It's so bad. You're going to laugh. You and feel bad for these people at the same time. Michael Eisner even gets C-3PO's name wrong.
Right.
It is hilarious. Go watch that Star Tours
And
opening.
actually, George Lucas did say in an interview he was a Disney kid growing up,
Yeah,
so he thought it would be right for his film to actually. Well, he owned the rights still then to start to, just for Star Tours to go into Disney, and then years later, Disney bought the rights to Star Wars, and then they made Galaxy's Edge and all the rides and characters that you
yeah.
see in Galaxy's Edge, and I really want to go on the Star Wars Star Cruiser.
I do too. I want to wait until my nephews are a little older and I can spoil them.
Mhm.
It's kind of like the experience I want to give my sister's kids.
Mhm.
You know,
I
because
think
they'll
that
be
would be
more into
cool.
it than anybody else in my family besides me.
Mhm. I've seen videos on it, and a couple of my friends have stayed there, and it's really cool. I would love to stay there.
I am going to reserve judgment until I actually see it because there's a lot of theater involved, and so
Mhm.
I have to see it live
And you
to
can go on the dark side, or you can go on the Jedi side as
anybody
well.
that chooses the dark side. I'm questioning you right here, right now.
Well, I think we all have a little bit of Jedi in us and dark side in us. That's why I like Star Wars because some days you're like, nah, this isn't gonna go right, and so you feel more of the dark side, I think.
Mm-hmm. And maybe sometimes you need the dark side to get you through a rough day.
Right,
But I think
exactly.
as long as you always strive to be in the light, you're
Hmm.
strive to be halfway out of the dark. You're good.
Right. And did you know also for people that are listening, when Luke is wearing black, I forget which movie it is, but when he's wearing black, he's thinking about going onto the dark side, but they scrapped it.
Yeah, and that's why at the end of Jedi, when he's wearing all black, he flips that little bit of white out from his tunic. It's like, ha ha, psych, I'm not going bad. I have a white stripe right here.
Right. And I thought that was funny. And then I also like the scene when Han Solo's going into that gold scene. I think that's really cool as well.
Yeah.
You know. All right, guys. Well, Jay has to get going. Thank you
So
for
I'm
stopping
getting
by.
yelled at. I'm getting yelled at because pizza's almost here. Sorry, everyone.
Thank you for coming on and talking Star Wars with me. We'll have to come back again and talk more.
I'm gonna
Like when
have to come
Ahsoka
back
comes,
sooner. Yeah,
we'll
we have
have
not
to.
let us go so long between visits.
Yes, and you're more than welcome to come anytime you want. We could talk about any movie, anything you want, Disney, anything.
You know, I just finished the Umbrella Academy season 3,
Hmm.
and it's one of those few shows I had to binge. I had to watch like 4 in a row at night because it was just getting
It's
better and
really good.
better and better. Yeah, and I just finished Miss Marvel. Loved
Mhm.
Miss Marvel.
Oh, I love Miss Marvel. I want to talk about that. So maybe next week or the week or 2 week you can come back and we can talk
I
about
would
Miss
love to.
Marvel. Because I don't have anybody really to talk that show with, and it's so
I
good.
will talk your ear off because I'm a comic nerd and I can just talk and talk and talk. And no, I love Miss Marvel. It was, you know what it was? It was fun. It was fun
Mhm.
Marvel, and she's just adorable.
Yeah, she is the girl that they got to play her. She is
Yeah,
adorable.
she's really cute. You just like her right off the bat. They let her be an awkward teenager, and that was great.
Hmm. Yeah, I like that. Well, Peter Parker is kind of like an awkward teenager too. Spider Man,
Yeah.
he's kind of an awkward teenager too, especially when he's like going after Tony Stark, and then Happy's like, "Stop it."
He's a bit of a fanboy. I think he was speaking for all of us at that point,
Yes. Well, who wouldn't want to be next to Tony Stark or even any of the Avengers, really,
right?
or any of the Star Wars characters? Who wouldn't want to be next to them?
It depends on the character, but
Right. All right, guys. Thank you for listening to this episode, and I will link Jay's where you can find Jay and everything down below. And I hope you guys have a great weekend or a great week, depending on when you're listening to this. And be safe, everybody. Bye.
May the force be with you.
Yes, may the